Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Building Bahamas. Again, my name is Doug. Coming back again with another episode on building your dream home in the Bahamas. Hope you guys are having a great morning. Happy Friday. Hope you all have a great weekend, and especially happy Veterans Day to all the veterans and anyone serving our country. Really appreciate your dedication, commitment to the country. Really appreciate you guys from myself and my family for sure. So today we're going to talk about where you buy materials, how do you get them to Exuma, and all the costs associated. But remember, if you find this content enjoyable, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and follow us for all the future episodes that we're going to be providing. But let's jump right into today's episode and hope you guys enjoy. Welcome back. All right, let's dive right in because this is a lot of information to kind of provide in one video, and I definitely don't want to make it too long. So where to buy materials, how to get them to Exuma, and how to get them to your job site, and all the fees associated. So first of all, where do you buy materials? What we did is pretty much simple. We jumped on the phone, started calling people in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida area, getting quotes on different materials. We would call Nassau, get quotes on those same materials, compare the prices, figure out what fits our budget, and then go from there. Now, there is one lumber company in Exuma on the island, Darville Lumber, and they are higher. Their prices are higher than States and Nassau because they have to really, they have to pay the same fees that we have to pay to get materials to the island as well. So they're a little bit higher, but they are a good source for stuff that you need right away, last minute, where you don't want to have to wait a week or so to get the materials to the island and go from there. So there is a material company, but you are going to pay a lot higher prices. But if you're on a budget and you really want to stick to that budget, we called Fort Lauderdale places, whether it was lumber companies, cabinet companies, countertops, electrical, plumbing, everything to build the house. Then we would call Nassau, get quotes for those same materials, and then figure out what was the best one for us. So that's kind of what you do. It's really just plain and simple. And that's what we want to do for you guys. We want to consult you guys on this, but take the headache out of all the whole process, because it can be frustrating. It can be trying. It can be a lot of work, a lot of time on the phone, waiting for quotes to come in, deciding what's the best route for you, and then going from there. But that's what we want to take that off your hands and do that for you guys. And that's what that's the offer that we want to extend to you guys. So we're buying materials. We bought, like, let's say we placed in an order of lumber. The one thing good about lumber coming from the States in the Bahamas is it's duty free. So your 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x10s, plywood, everything to get the shell, get your closed in, get you blacked in, is duty free. So you don't have to worry about extra duty charges, duty rates on that lumber. Now we'll talk about other materials as we go further on into the video. But so we made our framing package order, which is usually a phase one framing package order. We've got that. Now, how do we get it to the island? Now, if you're buying in Florida, in South Florida, where we bought, we use Secor Island Lines. Secor is a great company that ships to Exuma every week. They're in South Florida. I got good contacts there that help out really well and know the whole process. There is some documentation that you have to provide, and you get that information to them. They get it to Exuma office, and then once it comes on the island, we'll talk about that. If you're buying it in Nassau, again, there's several different companies, shipping companies, Bahama Fast Ferries, Island Link, Mailboat, that all come to Exuma every week, and a couple of them twice a week. And you just get them, let them know where the destination is, Georgetown, Exuma. They ship it to them, and then go from there. Now, there are shipping fees, freight fees, things like that that are associated with that. Also, VAT fees. If you're buying in the States, you're going to have to pay value-added tax, which is VAT, which is their sales tax. So, yes, you paid your sales tax in Florida, but you're going to have to pay it again in Bahamas unless you buy it in Nassau. And that's kind of where the research and comparing the prices and taking into consideration that 10% VAT comes into play. So so we made our first purchase order. Now, how do we, we know how to get it there. We called Secor, we called one of the Nassau Freightliners, and we're getting it there. So where does it come to, Doug? Well, it comes into Georgetown Government Dock, which is in the center hub of Exuma, and pretty much what it is, and we're popping up some pictures, videos of stuff, of us actually getting stuff off the dock. Now, the one thing about when it comes into the dock, you got to go to the little hut, the shack, or whatever, the office there at the government dock, and pay your freight charges, pay your shipping charges. And you go in there, you pay your shipping charges, and they give you your receipt. Now you can get your materials. Now, this is where the fun starts. You got to go pretty much on a scavenger hunt looking for your box or your materials or whatever it was that you bought. And they're just laying them out there, scattered all over the place. And so you go and find it. If it's a big order of shipping material or of lumber, then it's going to be on a flatbed or a container or something like that. Most likely a long flatbed. And you're just gonna, it's easier to find. Now, if it's the smaller stuff, boxes, things like that, it's a little bit difficult to find, but you'll find it and they'll help you. And once they get to know you and you're there, they'll kind of know exactly who you are and where your box is or what your materials are. If you're not there, then you got to have a good builder. And we talked about that last episode about builder and someone you can trust, someone there to help. And that's where we come to play. We want you to trust us, and we know the process. We know how to get it to Exuma. We know how to get it to your job site and things like that. So so you just have to have someone on the island that you trust, and that's where kind of building relationships and things like that come into play. So so we found our materials. We need to get them to the job site. What do we do? So there are several people that are looking for jobs. There are a lot of people looking for jobs in Exuma and the islands in general. And a lot of them have flatbed trucks, 18-wheelers, pickup trucks, and they're willing to transport any materials to your job site for a fee. And that fee, random, 50 to 100, depending on how big of a material run it is or where they have to go on the island is going to factor that in. But we can definitely help you with that. And so, but if it's something that comes into Secor, comes off the Fort Lauderdale, from Fort Lauderdale, from Secor, you have to get it out of customs. It has to go through everything from the States into the Bahamas, has to go through the customs process, and really where you have to hire a customs broker to do all the paperwork that's needed for the customs office. Then once that paperwork's done, which may take 2 or 3 days, once that paperwork's done, it'll be sent over to the customs office. Then you go in there and you pay your VAT, your customs, depending on what it is. And then they give you your slip to be able to take it over to the base and get your materials out of the base and then ready for delivery to your site. All right, before we end, the last thing I want to discuss, and we talked about it earlier, was duty. Duty is very important when you get to the stage of flooring, cabinets, countertops, furniture, appliances, things like that. So this is really where you got to really budget and make sure that you stay within your budget and factor in those duty fees. And I'm gonna here pop up. This is the Bahamas duty document package that I have, and I can provide to you. If you want it, just send me an email, buildingthebahamas@gmail.com, and I'll shoot it to you. But this is what I followed, and you'll see some different items that I kind of highlighted. But duty is something that can add onto your budget that you don't expect. That's unexpected, because you may not think about it. Because, like I said, anything from countertops, appliances, things like that, you can be paying 25, 45%, and even more, maybe less, on top of your costs. So you got to really be observant of duty and taking into consideration that cost. So want to definitely touch on that and make sure you understand that duty is something that can definitely add thousands of dollars onto your budget if you're not budgeting for it. So it's definitely very important. So I want to definitely touch on that before we end this video. That's the end of this episode. If you have any questions, you want to dig deeper, give me a shout at buildingthebahamas@gmail.com. Set up a time to maybe discuss a little bit, talk on the phone, and go from there. But hope you guys have a great weekend. Again, happy Veterans Day to all the people that have served our country. Very appreciative of that. But until next time, hope you have a great weekend.